Yeah, ma'am, you can start.
Okay. So very good evening to all. Welcome to this webinar organized by the Mangalore branch of SIRC of ICAI on the Faceless Assessments and Appeals topic. We have moved a long way from what our profession was, starting with piles and bunches of books to preparing bunches and piles of documents for assessments and appeals. We have moved on to what is called as the e-proceedings or the e-assessments, and now stepping ahead, we are going on to faceless assessments where we do not know who is going to be the officer who is going to assess the particular documents. So understanding the peak necessity of this particular session for our fellow chartered accountants and the students, especially in the third year of our articleship, the Mangalore branch committee has So everyone, I extend a warm welcome to you all and all the delegates, especially our chief guest for the day, CA Kumar S. Jigajani, the President of Karnataka State Chartered Accountants Association. A warm welcome to you, sir.
Thank you.
And also our session speaker, the ever-smiling and young and dynamic CA, Dr. Abhishek Murli, sir, who's the Secretary of SIRC of ICAI. Welcome you to this webinar. Moving on. To seek the God's Almighty's blessings on this particular webinar, I request CA Soumya Kamath to lead us into prayer.
Hello, Soumya.
Soumya, kindly unmute yourself so that your voice is audible.
Yeah. Am I audible now?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Sarvesham swastirбhavatu. Sarvesham shantirbhavatu. Sarvesham purnam bhavatu. Sarvesham mangalam bhavatu. Sarvesham swastirбhavatu. Sarvesham shantirbhavatu. Sarvesham purnam bhavatu. Sarvesham mangalam bhavatu. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah. Sarve santu niramayah. Sarve bhadrani pashyantu. Ma kaschid dukkha bhag bhavet. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah. Sarve santu niramayah. Sarve bhadrani pashyantu. Ma kaschid dukkha bhag bhavet. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, one, for the current scenario where we wish that every being on this universe will be having his well-being and may good things happen to all, and see that this particular pandemic scenario that we are facing gets vanished with the coming up of the vaccine. Thank you once again. As I initially said, Mangalore branch has never stayed down even during the times of lockdown and even during times when it is unable to have physical seminars at present. So our chairman and the entire committee is doing a lot of activities through these webinars and always on the go in educating and creating an awareness among the fellow members and the students. So I now request our chairman, CA SS Naik sir, to welcome the gathering and the delegates. Over to you, sir.
Respected two young stars of today's webinar, CA Kumar S. Jigajinni, President, Karnataka State Chartered Accountants Association, and our most popular, smiling, and enthusiastic, smart, young, energetic, tall leader in a short span, Dr. C.A. Abhishek Murali. Then my fellow colleagues in the committee, today's moderator C.A. Gautam Nayak, young and energetic, and our Sikasa chairman, and all other members in the committee, my brothers and sisters in our CA Parivar, my beloved students, good evening to all of you. Today is a special day for us because we have faceless assessment and faceless appeals topic in a faceless environment. So even though it is a faceless environment, we can see smiling face on the screen of both young and energetic chartered accountants today. Of course, CA Kumar S. Jigajini, even though he hails from small place, small city called Bagalkot, but he occupies the top position in our Karnataka State Chartered Accountant Association as a president. He is also convener of Bagalkot CPE chapter of SIRC of ICAI. Bagalkot is famous for agri economy and it is on the bank of river Ghataprabha. ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು ಏನಂದ್ರೆ ಜಿಗಜಿನ್ನಿಯವರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಕಲ್ಲರಳಿ ಹೂವಾಗಿ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೆ ಬೇಕಾಗಿ ಮಲ್ಲಿಕಾರ್ಜುನನ ಶಿಖರಕ್ಕೆ ಬೆಳಕಾಗಿ ಬಲ್ಲವರು ಹೇಳಿ ಸರ್ವಜ್ಞ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಕಲ್ಲರಳಿ ಹೂವಾಗಿ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೆ ಬೇಕಾಗಿ ಇಂಥ ಒಂದು ಬಾಗಲಕೋಟೆ ಎನ್ನುವ ಒಂದು ಸಣ್ಣ ಪ್ರದೇಶದಿಂದ ಬಂದು ನಮ್ಮ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಚಾರ್ಟರ್ಡ್ ಅಕೌಂಟೆಂಟ್ ಅಸೋಸಿಯೇಷನ್ ಇದರ ಒಂದು ಅತ್ಯುನ್ನತ ಹುದ್ದೆ ಪ್ರೆಸಿಡೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಒಂದು ಕಾರ್ಯ ಕ್ಷೇತ್ರವನ್ನು ನೀವು ವಿಸ್ತರಿಸಿದ್ದಕ್ಕೆ CA ಕುಮಾರ್ ಎಸ್ ಜಿಗಜನ್ನಿ ನಿಮಗೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಎಲ್ಲಾ ಚಾರ್ಟರ್ಡ್ ಅಕೌಂಟೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಬ್ರಾಂಚ್ ಮ್ಯಾಂಗ್ಳೂರ್ ಬ್ರಾಂಚ್ ಆಫ್ SIRC of ICAI on behalf of our branch and on behalf of all our CA fraternity, I congratulate you for being elected as the president, and really it is our pride moment that we welcome you on this faceless assessment and appeals. This topic is very sensational topic, so that's why we thought we invite you for this program as chief guest. So I welcome you, sir, for this virtual meeting.
Thank
Now,
you, sir.
our Dr. Abhishek Murali, as I already told, if I want to talk about his biodata, it runs into pages and pages and pages. But even if I want to brief him in short regarding his degrees, sir. So you belong to, we are very proud that you belong to freedom fighters family. So we are very proud. You have occupied the position of SIRC as a council member, I think 5 years back at the young age of 26 itself. What an achievement. Wonderful achievement. You are a role model to our chartered accountant fraternity and all our students. And even though we wanted to have you in our Mangalore branch personally, but we could not do so. Finally, we compromised that we will see your smiling face on this topic of faceless assessment and appeals. There is a saying in Sanskrit, Alankara Priyo Vishnuhu, Abhisheka Priyaha Shivaha, Namaskara Priyaha Banuhu, then Brahmanaha Bhojana Priya. That fourth line I will change. Alankara Priyo Vishnuhu, Abhisheka Priyaha Shivaha, Namaskara Priyaha Banuhu, Abhishekaha Webinar Priyaha. So I think I have been seeing any invite we see Abhishek Murali in that program. And we are also very fortunate to have you on our Golden Jubilee celebrations of Mangalore branch. You were also one of our guests to address our fraternity, but that day we could not hear you a lot because of time constraint. But today we have given you 2 hours time. You can enlighten our members and students on faceless assessment and faceless appeals. So, on behalf of Mangalore branch of ICAI, I welcome both our leader Dwayas, Kumar S. Jigajini, and Dr. C.A. Abhishek Murali for this virtual meeting. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you very much, sir, for those words of welcome. It was indeed a pleasure to hear from you, and we welcome you also to this particular webinar. Moving on, it is now time to hear from our chief guest, C.A. Kumar Shivalingappa Jigajani. Let me briefly introduce C.A. Kumar Jigajani, sir, to the delegates. C.A. Kumar Shivalingappa Jigajani was born in Badami, and he completed his primary and high school education at Bagalkot. He did his CA article training with CA Shivram Hegde at Bagalkot and qualified in the year 2008, and he started practicing in Bagalkot in 2008 itself. He joined as a partner in the firm Shivram Hegde and Co., Chartered Accountants, with effect from 28/10/2008, and started his individual practice from 29/4/2017 as Kumar S. Jigajani and Co. Vidyagiri, Bagalkot. He is the 48th president of the Karnataka State Chartered Accountants Association for the term 2020-21, and also been the convener of Bagalkot CPE chapter of SIRC of ICAI. He has also been the professional director of Lakshmi Sahakari Bank Niyamit, Guledgud, Bagalkot, and the executive committee member of Basaveshwara Commerce College Alumni Association. We are indeed happy to have you with us today, sir. Over to you to address the delegates.
Thank you. Good evening, members. I am deeply honored and equally humbled to be in the webinar as a chief guest for the today's webinar on faceless assessment and appeals by Dr. CA Dr. Abhishek Murali, Secretary of ICAI, SIRC of ICAI. Thank you, SS Naik sir, Chairman of Mangalore branch of SIRC of ICAI, and all the managing committee members and team for inviting me as a chief guest for the today's webinar. Mangalore branch of SIRC of ICAI is celebrating Golden Jubilee year and conducted many CPE programs during the term 2020-21 in spite of COVID-19 pandemic. I, on behalf of the team KSCA, congratulate and thank vibrant and dynamic chairman C.S.S. Naik and all the managing committee members and the team for the efforts made during the Golden Jubilee year. Karnataka State Chartered Accountant Association is an association of chartered accountants registered in the year 1957. KSA is primarily formed for the welfare of the chartered accountants and represents before various regulatory authorities to resolve the professional concerns faced by chartered accountants and the business community. KSA regularly conducts seminars, conferences, workshops, study circle meetings of professional interest for the members and public throughout Karnataka. The association also conducts endowment lecturers. Being from the official place of Bagalkot, I never thought and dreamt that I will become the president of the second oldest and 63-year-old association of India. I thank to all the members for the support. KSA is a state body and having objectives to encourage friendly feeling and unanimity amongst the members and to ensure solidarity in the matter of interest concerning all of them, to watch over, promote, protect the mutual interest of the members, and to better equip them in discharging their professional obligation, to provide an organization for chartered accounts and generally consolidate the interest of the profession, and to do all such things from time to time as may be necessary to elevate the status and advance the interest of the profession, to spread the knowledge in the art and science of the accountancy in all its branches, and in particular relating to the matters of professional interest of chartered accountants, to endeavor to bring statutory legislation in any manner for the betterment of the members, profession, and the students of accountancy and also public. I will not consume much time of the CA Dr. Abhishek Murli, dynamic speaker, and our secretary of SIRC of ICAI. I wish to conclude my speech and wish you all the best. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, CA Kumar Jagajani, sir. You will be always motivating us, and indeed, I believe you're the right person to lead the present Karnataka State Chartered Accountants Association, and we hope to see a number of events from the KCA in future as well. Thank you once again. It's now time we are all awaiting for. Let me briefly introduce Dr. C.A. Abhishek Murli, sir, who is the Secretary SIRC of ICAI. So to add to his qualification, he has a BCom, MCom, FCA, ACMA, LLB, CGMA, CIMA from London, CISA from USA, DISA of ICAI, EDIT, that is ADIT UK, and DILIT. He's a chartered accountant, a cost and management accountant, and a certified information systems auditor. He's been practicing for over 13 years in area of finance, accounts, and consultancy, and he's a partner in the Victor Grace & Co. Chartered Accountants. To add to his accolades, he is the All India first rank holder in the CIMA strategy examinations and an All India 17th rank in the CIMA final examinations. He has also secured the All India 5th rank in the international taxation examinations conducted by CIOT. And Dr. C.A. Abhishek Murli is the youngest elected regional council member of the SIRC of the ICAI for 2 terms in succession, that is for the periods 2016 to 19 and 19 to 22, by securing the highest number of votes from Tamil Nadu. He has the honor of being the youngest elected secretary of the SIRC of ICAI. So owing to your name, Murli sir, we have something called in the Bhagavad Gita where Krishna is dictating the Mahabharata to Arjuna. So you will be our Krishna for the day, who's going to tell how exactly this faceless assessment and appeals will be there for all the delegates. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Yashaswini ma'am. Very, very kind words. And I feel really privileged to be here on this very special occasion. I thank the chairman of the branch, CSS Nayak, for inviting me and giving me this opportunity to be here. And of course, our chief guest and speaker for the day, who gave a very lovely opening address, CA Kumar. He is doing a great job as the president of the KCA Association. I always see them in the news. I see the excellent programs that they're conducting. They're doing fabulous work. And I'm sure his leadership has been very, very pivotal for them. I also like to thank the other management committee members. I only see CA Gautam on the screen. I think the other management committee members may be there, but I cannot see them on the screen, like see the secretary, Abdul Misbah, and all the others. And I thank them for inviting me and giving me this opportunity to be here. And most importantly, a very warm good evening to all the participants who have joined in today. Our chairman, CSS Nayak sir, is doing a fabulous job. As he very rightly said, I had the privilege of being here in the Golden Jubilee function as well, which your branch had organized in such a lovely manner that when we are organizing our regional conference, which is coming up on December 10th, and we have invited the Honorable Finance Minister, Srimati Nirmala Sitharaman ma'am, who will be joining us as the chief guest to inaugurate the function. We had got in touch with SS Nayak sir as to how he used the software, which is the ideal software, how he did the very beautiful backdrops, everything. So he gave us a lot of guidance. So he's really a dynamic person, very forward thinking. And I think his leadership has been excellent. And I thank you, SS Nayak sir, for all the excellent work that you've been doing. Now coming to the subject today, once again, it was selected by the branch. And I think it's a very important topic. Today, faceless assessment is something which every chartered accountant has been talking about. It's going to affect all chartered accountants because filing your income tax returns and at least up to assessment level appearance is the bread and butter for 90% of the chartered accountants across India. So when you say there's going to be a dynamic shift in the return filing and in the assessment procedure, naturally it's going to affect all of us. And ladies and gentlemen, the timing cannot be more appropriate. I am sure being December, you will all be getting busy because the 31st of December this year Some 1,000 due dates are there on the same date: return filing date, GST date, ROC date, statutory audit date, tax audit date. Everything is coming on 31st of December this year. So I'm sure all of you will be feeling that pressure. To add to that pressure, finally, after the COVID lockdown is over, the faceless assessment NEAC have started issuing notices. So some of you may have already received for your clients. If you have not yet received, in the ensuing few days or few weeks, you will start getting the notices from the faceless assessment as well. So the timing of this program is extremely important. I think it is time for us to understand what this faceless assessment is, what is the impact of the faceless assessment, and what should you and I as chartered accountants do to prepare ourselves to handle this faceless assessment era, how it is going to impact even the minute aspects. In fact, I'm going to touch upon how it is going to impact our day-to-day activities, like even CPC work. How is it going to affect our any assessment? We'll take practical cases and try to understand how the faceless assessment will be in our day-to-day lives and how we can gear up to it. We have to, of course, start off with a very huge announcement made by our Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji. On 13th of August, he made a very grand announcement. He invited all the three presidents from the CA Institute, CS Institute, the CMA Institute. He has called all the leaders of the income tax. Every principal chief commissioner and chief commissioner were part of this program across the country. Not only that, leading industrialists from CII and FICCI, they are all participating in this live program they had on 13th of August. They launched a scheme known as transparent taxation, honoring the honest. And there were three pillars for this. The first one being faceless assessment, the second one being faceless appeals, and the third one being your taxpayer charter. So these three were considered to be the most critical aspects of this entire faceless assessment scheme. Now we are going to primarily deal with the faceless assessment here, but I will touch upon the others whenever time comes up for it. We have to first, before we understand the faceless assessment scheme itself, let us quickly try to understand what was the past. We have to know what we are dealing with before we know where we are going. And let me tell you, this is not something which is sudden. I have to clarify that. The first thing that I have to clarify, my dear members, is that this faceless assessment scheme, they did not suddenly one day wake up and say, tomorrow onwards, faceless assessments. That was not what happened over here. It is a very deliberate and planned measure. If you go back, you look at the act, you take the BAR Act, you take this section called 143.3A. It was introduced all the way back in 2018, which set the foundation for this entire faceless assessment. So for more than 3 years, they have been working very hard in trying to have this scheme brought into effect. So, but let us understand where we were before. Manual assessment, we're all familiar with. What happened in manual assessment? Either the auditor or the assessee, he'll get a notice from the income tax department. Your assessee will bring it to your office. You will note down the date for the hearing. You will go and appear. You will make all your arguments and presentations to the assessing officer. He will accept whatever you are giving, written submissions, etc. You will sign on the record. And then based on all of your discussions, he will either give you a favorable order or adverse order. We're all familiar with this. This is called manual assessment. Next, you had something known as email assessment. Please note the terminology I'm using. Email assessment. I have been speaking about faceless assessment for almost 1.5 years now. I have had the privilege of being very closely associated with the entire implementation team. And in fact, I'm part of a high power committee, which is now constituted by the Ministry of Finance to give regular feedback on how the scheme is going. The government, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, they are extremely serious on making this faceless assessment a success. I'm sure there is some hesitation from our point of view where we'll feel, oh, this is new, it is computers, we cannot represent our arguments clearly, but the government are very keen on forcing it. They want to make it a success, and they have been giving a fair hearing where whenever suggestions we have made, they have implemented it. The first important criteria why I brought this up is that whenever I have been speaking for the last 1.5 years on this topic, most members, they say, Abhishek, anyway, e-assessment has been there for a long time now. Last 1.5 years, it's been there. Why on 13th August such a big announcement? I must not get confused. 1 year back or even 6 months back, if you log in to the income tax portal, there will be one tab called e-assessment proceedings like that. If you click on that tab, you will have a list of the assessment years, what and all are pending for you, what assessments are pending. But under this email assessment, there used to be one more button to the right hand side there. Do you want this assessment to be done physically? You have to click yes or no. If I click yes means gone, no more e-assessment, it will be done only physically. Even if I click no, even if I click no, saying no, I don't want it to be done physically, I want e-assessment only, it will still be the same physical jurisdictional assessing officer as it was in the manual assessment. In fact, I'll give you a prime example. In one case, I chose physical assessment. I went for the appearance. I argued everything before the assessing officer. Then finally he said, Abhishek, when you go back to your office, you scan and you upload. I said, sir, I want physical only. I don't want e-assessment. He said, no, you just put it on the record. You still go and do. So that button became pointless. Then I thought, okay, when I'm going physically, anyway, they are saying you upload online. What if I chose, I want virtual assessment only. I don't want physical assessment. So in another case, I selected the button. Do you want it to be done physically? No, I don't want it to be done physically. Then what happened? Then next day I got a call from the assessing officer. Abhishek, I understand you are handling this case. Why don't you come to my office and argue? I said, sir, I have selected virtual assessment, sir. I have not selected physical. No, it's okay. You come and you explain to me. Whatever you need, you submit online, but you come and explain. So end of the day, whether you select physical or whether you select virtual, eventually everything became physical assessment only. That entire point of e-assessment became simply a formality. Just for the sake of uploading one document, that email assessment was there. But otherwise, everything was still being done physically. Under the faceless assessment scheme, which is in effect from 13th of August, let me tell you, my friends, gone are the days of having a rapport, relationship, friendship with assessing officers. Henceforth, you will not know who your assessing officer is. So normally your assessee in Mangalore will have an assessing officer in Mangalore, or at least in a nearby city, at least he'll be there. Now onwards, you don't know where your assessing officer is. Your assessing officer for your assessee in Mangalore could be in Bangalore, could be in Delhi, he could be in Calcutta, he could be in Chennai. You have no idea where this person is going to be. That is the impact of this faceless assessment. And now it has been completely virtual, completely mandatory. You cannot even go physically and make the submissions. It has to be done online only. And let me tell you, from 13th of August, when it has been made by a CBDT order, by the Honorable Prime Minister's address, every case will now be a faceless assessment case. Now that I've said this, let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question and you can answer. On 14th of August, I am getting a notice for hearing. On 14th of August, I am getting a notice for hearing. Will this assessment be physical or will it be faceless? The answer here is very clear. I am sure I can see some people already typing out the answer. The answer here, everyone knows it is going to be faceless only. Now, next scenario. I got a notice on, let's assume 15th of July, I've got a notice for a hearing for an assessment. Faceless assessment has come in 13th of August. We were in a lockdown in June, July. So even though I've got it in 15th of June or 15th of July, I was not able to appear. No hearing was posted. Hence, by 13th of August, suddenly this faceless assessment has come. So in this scenario, scenario 2, which will be applicable? Faceless assessment or physical assessment? In this case also, faceless assessment only will be applicable. Okay, these two are clear, Abhishek, no problem. Let us take a third scenario. This notice you have received in 2019, sometime mid-year. You have made 9 appearances, 9 hearings you have had on this matter. In your last hearing, your assessing officer says, Abhishek, come back on 30th of March 2020. You are in 15th of March that time. He says, Abhishek, you come after 15 days. On 30th of March, you come. We will pass your order and we will finalize the case. I say, okay, sir, great. 9 hearings. I'm going and telling my client, 30th of March, I'll get your order. Don't worry. What happened on 24th of March? Country went into a total lockdown. Suddenly, it has been in a lockdown throughout. On 13th of August, our Honorable Prime Minister is announcing from now onwards all faceless assessment. Can you tell me in this case, you had 9 appearances, only the order is pending, only the order is pending. That also is given you a date, 30th of March is given the date. But faceless assessment has come, lockdown has come in between, so you have not got the order as yet. So in this case, where you have made multiple appearances, but order is not passed or order is pending, will it be a faceless assessment or will it be a physical assessment? Ladies and gentlemen, within 1 hour of the announcement of this faceless assessment scheme by our Prime Minister on 13th of August, CBDT issued a directive. A CBDT order was passed. What did that order say? As of today, all pending assessments, irrespective at how many appearances you've had, irrespective of what the issue is, irrespective of the complexity of matters, all of these cases will be transferred to the faceless assessment. But sir, 9 times I've appeared, sir. Only order is pending, sir. Why you are transferring to faceless? My case you leave. He said, no stone unturned. Every case will get a de novo assessment. De novo means a fresh assessment. So a full new and fresh assessment will be done, even if you have appeared 9 times, even if you have appeared 1 time, even if you have appeared 150 times, they are not making any distinctions. If your assessment order was not passed on 13th of August 2020, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, you are now under the faceless assessment scheme. Your appearances, your submissions, anything that you have given before will not matter. You have to do it all over again. So please make a note. It's a very, very important point. Any of your pending hearings, if the order not passed, de novo assessment, you will have to do it afresh. Now, that was the transition. Now, let us go into the specific points. I have to start off with the most important thing, communication of notices. We are all aware that any assessment, anything that needs to be done with the income tax has to be communicated to the assessee. Without such communication, what is the purpose of doing any assessment? You have to give the opportunity to be heard. It's a very fundamental, basic, natural principle of justice, as it is called. Now, traditionally speaking, physical notice used to come either to you or to your assessee, used to bring it to you, or you will go and appear. But under the faceless assessment scheme, they have said it will come only in 3 ways. It will come by either email, it will come by either SMS or WhatsApp, or it will come by a mobile application which is under development. Now, even the Supreme Court, in a recent order a few months back, or I think last month to be precise, they passed an order saying service of notice by WhatsApp is adequate to be considered as an adequate service of notice. So therefore, a communication in WhatsApp also will constitute to be a valid communication, a valued service. Now, why am I bringing up this point? Traditionally speaking, and I've been handling the appeals for several auditors, and some of you who are present here also know that I handle your appeals at the ICAI level. So when that is the case, one common thing that I do is for every case that I'm handling, I ask for the computation, I ask for the ITR as filed by the auditor. And let me tell you something, 90% of the cases that I have handled, the communication details, the email and the phone number that they would have given for the assessee will be the auditor's own email ID, the auditor's own phone number. The reason? It is easier for control. Whenever any notice comes for your client, you will know about it, you will be able to take prompt action. Many clients, what they will do, they will never share the notice with you, they will never send the details to you. So therefore, you will not be aware. Suddenly 6 months later, they'll say, sir, assessment order has come, sir, demand has come, sir, what have you been doing? Then we have to tell them, you did not forward all that. So instead of all that, we prefer to take the communication ourselves. We will keep track and we will keep them posted. Now, 6 years back, there was an amendment which came where they said every email ID or any mobile number can register a maximum of 10 PAN numbers only. Any single email ID or single mobile number can register maximum 10 PAN numbers. In our office, against our email ID, more than 900 or 800 PAN numbers were registered. So automatically after the first 10 PAN numbers, no other communication will come. So we had a massive exercise where we changed everything to the client's email ID, the client's mobile number. Now you may ask why? Because many auditors, they still have not changed. So why am I bringing this out now? The reason is, ladies and gentlemen, whether it was a manual assessment or whether it was the email assessment as we discussed, a physical notice was still sent. So even if you did not receive the email communication, why maximum 10 PAN numbers? Your client happens to be the 58th PAN number who has been registered against your email ID. His communication will not come to you. So therefore, even if you did not receive the mail communication, still the assessing officer was kind enough to send a physical notice. So anyway, they used to bring the physical notice to you. But under the faceless scheme, there is not going to be any physical communication whatsoever. The communication will only happen in the modes that you see on the screen. So my humble request to all chartered accountants and all lawyers who are watching this program, ensure you update the contact details. When you log into the income tax portal, you will get a pop-up box saying check, confirm if the address details and contact details are correct. Oh, that please take 1 second, study it and update it if required. Normally by habit, when that comes, everyone will press the close button and we'll proceed to the income tax portal. But I humbly request you to take a few minutes and change the contact and communication details. Now let us come into the very specifics of the faceless assessment scheme. Now, as I told you, 143.3A was introduced way back in 2018. And that is the empowering and backbone of this entire faceless scheme. Now, I am not going to spend time on reading out the entire section, but as you can see, I've highlighted 3 critical terms. These are going to be the very backbone, and you will see why. Eliminating interface between assessing officer and the assessee in the course of proceedings to the extent technologically feasible. So therefore, technology is a backbone. Yes, we have all understood this. Very straightforward. Second, optimizing utilization of resources through economies of scale and functional specialization. What do they mean by functional specialization? Next slide, you'll understand. Then, introducing a team-based assessment with a dynamic jurisdiction. Dynamic jurisdiction we have understood. You have said that your assessee in Mangalore will be assessed by someone Bangalore or Bombay or Calcutta, Chennai, anywhere across India. So we have understood dynamic jurisdiction, that is clear. But what do you mean by team-based assessment? Please remember these 2 words, functional specialization and team-based assessment. You will appreciate it in the upcoming slides. Now, we have to understand what is the fundamental structure of the entire e-assessment scheme. There is going to be something known as the NEAC or the National E-Assessment Center that is going to be in the middle of this entire faceless assessment scheme. It is like the brain. It is like the brain of this entire faceless scheme. This is what keeps the scheme running. And they are going to establish 4 units. This NEAC is going to establish 4 new units. They are going to be known as assessment unit, verification unit, technical unit, and what is known as a review unit. So these are the 4 units going to be created under this faceless scheme. So what does each unit do? The first unit, the AU or the assessment unit, they'll identify the issues to be raised, seek information on issues, analyze information, and draft the assessment order and send it to the NEAC. Seems straightforward. Then you have a verification unit. The verification unit, what do? They conduct inquiries, they examine the books of accounts, they record statements through video conferencing. Wait, Abhishek, wait. Till so far, almost 42 minutes over, You have been saying repeatedly faceless, faceless, faceless. Suddenly now you are saying verification unit can do video conferencing. So is it faceless or does the face can be visible? Very right point. Very right point, sir. Here I must tell you, in the entire faceless assessment scheme, only one team has access to your face, which is the verification unit. The very purpose is to ensure that natural principle of justice is met. I'll give you a prime example. There was a case which an auditor had referred to me where the assessee in this case had claimed agricultural income. In Tamil Nadu, you have something known as an adangal and a chitta. So wherever agricultural land is there, whenever cultivation activity happens over there, there will be a tasildar from designated by the state who has to give a circular and he has to give a certificate saying what and all crops have grown there, how much crops have grown, how much crops have been sold, whether the land is cultivable or not. Like this, he has to give every year, he has to give you a certificate. In this case, what happened is the Tahsildar has given the assessee the certificate. Subsequently, when the income tax have reopened the case, they have sent a notice to the assessee, show cause notice, saying that the Tahsildar has said your land is uncultivable. He said the land is uncultivable. So therefore, it is impossible for you to have earned agricultural income. We are going to add the entire thing and put penalty. Now the auditor had come to me. He said, what should we do? I said, sir, immediately ask for a cross objection of the Tahsildar. Immediately ask for a cross objection. He said, I cannot do it, Abhishek. Can you do it? I'm not confident. I said, okay, sir, I will do it. So whenever I asked for a hearing for the cross objection with the Tahsildar, the department was never giving me a date. Deliberately, they'll give a date where I am not free, or they'll give me a date where he is not free. So multiple times this happened. And finally, I said, sir, this entire full day, I'll cancel all my meetings. Whatever time you are telling me that Tahsildar is coming, I will come and I'll appear. So finally, a date was fixed. I went and I appeared. And in the course of the hearing, I asked some tough questions to the Tahsildar. I told him, sir, 4 years back, you have given a certificate saying that it is a cultivable land. All these crops have been cultivated. How come after 4 years, suddenly you are changing your stance? But did you feel any pressure from the department side that required you to change your stance, or were you lying? Were you lying when you gave the original certificate? Immediately he said, yeah, no pressure and all. There was a mistake. I said, sir, please remember, it's a vigilance issue if you are giving a fake certificate like that. Immediately he started saying, no, it was cultivable only. Yes, he grew the agricultural crops. I want to withdraw my statement I've given to the income tax. And all that started happening. So immediately, the assessing officer, they started ushering me out. They said, no, we'll cancel this hearing. We'll have another hearing. All of that happened. Then finally, what happened is we won the case. We got the decision in our favor. But the turning point for the case was the cross objection where I could put the pressure on the Tahsildar. Now, if this entire cross objection had to be done on a piece of paper where I'm typing saying, did you really say this? Do you realize there'll be a vigilance issue? Every time he'll take some time, he will formulate an answer, or he may get advice from whoever is putting pressure on him. So therefore, true principles of justice can only be obtained if there is some form of video conferencing. So therefore, the verification unit will be ensuring this for you. The next unit is what is known as the technical unit. Ladies and gentlemen, please note, the technical unit and the review unit, these two units are going to be game changers for the department. They are going to be game changers. I'll tell you why, and you will also appreciate it. Let us first start with the technical unit. What does the technical unit do? The technical unit, they provide technical assistance, they provide advice on legal, accounting, TP, and other matters. Now, why is this so important? I'll give you another example of a live case that we had faced. Auditor had referred this case to us. The auditor, when he had appeared before the assessing officer, we have to note this assessing officer, for almost 15 or 16 years, he was only in the exemptions ward, where he was handling non-profit cases, NGO cases, trust cases, etc. Suddenly, he was transferred to a corporate ward. He was transferred to corporate ward. And he has only 1 month between the time barring date and his transfer. He has almost 70 assessees, 70 assessees are there under his jurisdiction. So within 1 month, he has to understand company law, company income tax law. He has to understand how the taxation impacts the companies who are within his jurisdiction. Then he has to understand the companies which are in his jurisdiction. He has to understand the issues that can be raised. He has to send the notices to them. He has to follow up the appearances with them. He has to argue the case with the auditors, and he has to pass a effective assessment order. All of this for 70 assessees in a span of 1 month. Whether it is practically possible, I think here we have to salute our income tax officers and our department people, where despite all of these pressures, they are still passing very strong, effective orders. But I think it's fair to say that if you are put in their shoes, it is going to be very difficult for you to pass effective orders. And that is why precisely sometimes some quality of the orders are bad. Either it is in the favor of department or sometimes in the favor of assessee also. But mistakes are being made, and naturally, if you are also put in that position, you will also make the same mistakes. But why this technical unit is going to be a game changer? One case that I handled, same scenario, same facts. The assessing officer, he was in exemptions ward for 15 years. Suddenly, he is transferred to a corporate ward. This auditor who went and appeared, he asked for certain details from the auditor. The auditor said, please give me 3 days time, sir. I will get the details and I will give it to you. He said that I will give you maximum 2 days. Auditor said, okay. Auditor still, unfortunately, he could give only some information, but he could not give everything. So he came back on the 3rd day. He said, sir, I've got the information now. That assessing officer said, nothing doing. I gave you 2 days time. You did not give. So I'm going to pass an order. I'm going to make a lot of additions. Now, this was a loss-making company. The assessee was a loss-making company. The officer, what he could have done, he could have made certain additions of the details which were given, and he could have reduced the loss, and he could have raised a penalty. Instead, what did the assessing officer do? He said, I'm going to take your entire gross total income, or I'm going to take your entire sales. I'm going to do presumptive basis. 8% of your sales is going to be a profit, and I'm going to bring it to tax. It's a loss-making company. Please remember, 8% profit is a huge outflow for them. So immediately the auditor said, Abhishek, what I should do? I said, sir, please go on appeal. Within one hearing, we'll win the case. I'm sure many of you will be already thinking how you would have won the case. A very simple answer. In the first hearing that I went to, I told the commissioner, I told your lordship, in this case, it is a loss-making company. Presumptive taxation is not applicable for companies. 44 AD is not applicable to companies at all. So there's no question of doing presumptive taxation, etc. Agreed. Dismissed. Assessment order dismissed, given in favor of the assessee. Within one hearing, I got everything done. But this brings me back to the quality of the order, because that learned assessing officer did not have enough time to go through all the facts of the case, to understand the implications of the law. He has made a simple mistake which had a large implication, saying I'm doing presumptive taxation 8%. But if he had maybe 1 week time or 2 weeks time or lesser number of cases, he may have been able to at least study the facts of the case and do a good job. So because many assessing officers like this are under stress, now there is going to be technical experts who are going to be established by the department. So they will have teams now. So they will say, capital gains issue, we will have a capital gains team. Accounting issue, ICDS issue, we will have a separate team. Transfer pricing issue, we'll have a separate team. Corporate taxation issues, we'll have a separate team. Legal related issues, we'll have a separate team. So therefore, they will have their own experts. And therefore, that assessing officer, when he does not know, 54F, can I allow it in this case, yes or no? He will say, please refer it to the capital gains team. The capital gains team will have experts who are specialists in capital gains matters. They will say, no, you cannot allow, you please disallow, make addition, and they will send the case back to me. This is going to be a huge benefit to the income tax department, where now they have experts to do the matters. Just like how assessees, you will have experts. They will say, your capital gain case, you give it to Abhishek. Oh, business loss case, you give it to X person. This case, you give it to Y person. Appeals, you give it to X person. Like this, many auditors always have experts who they refer cases to. Department, irrespective of who the case is, it will be that same assessing officer. Now, they can also refer the cases to experts. It's a definite deal breaker that is now come in the form of the technical unit. Now, what is the fourth unit? The fourth unit is what is known as a review unit. It is known as a review unit. This is also a very, very important unit, and I'll tell you why. As somebody who regularly appears at the ITAT level, I can tell you one style of deliberation that all people who regularly do appeals will agree with. Whenever, however strong my case might be, I will never start my arguments on the merits of the case. However strong the merits may be, I will never start the argument on the merits. I will always start on what is known as the technical matters. What do I mean by that? Now, you are all familiar with reopening of assessment of income under section 147. What is the one very, very important landmark decision when it comes to reassessment? It is GK and drive shaft. In 2003, the Supreme Court in GK and drive shaft, they laid down the procedure how people need to handle reopening of cases under section 147. First, the assessing officer will send the notice to the assessee. The assessee, after receiving the notice, he has to file a return of income in response to the notice. Now you may say, I'm the most honest assessee on the planet. I've never even lied to my father or my grandfather. So therefore, how can they tell me that I have to file a return in response to the notice? Sir, even if you are Harish Chandra, even if you are Harish Chandra, notice from the income tax for reopening, you must file a return in response to them. What is the next step? After filing your return in response, you can seek reasons for the reopening. After you file the return, you can ask for reasons. Why did you reopen my return? Like that, you can ask the assessing officer. The assessing officer is duty bound. The assessing officer is duty bound to disclose the reasons to you. Then you can even raise objections against the reasons for reopening. Sir, this matter you have already examined. Please do not reopen. Like that, I can raise objections to the reasons for reopening. The assessing officer then, he's duty bound to dispose of these objections also. He's duty bound to dispose of these objections also. Only after all these steps are over, he can start the entire reassessment proceedings itself. He cannot even start if he does not finish all of these steps. So in many cases that I've handled, some of the additions made in the reopening, perfectly valid, 100% right. The assessee is a A grade fraud. That fellow is a A grade fraud assessee. All the additions the assessing officer has done is perfectly valid. But when the case was reopened, I asked for the reasons for reopening and I was not provided the reasons for reopening. Then whenever I draft my assessment order, first thing I will say, we had asked for reasons for reopening as per GK and drive shaft 2003 Supreme Court decision. The assessing officer has not provided the reasons for reopening, yet he has proceeded to make the entire reassessment. And let me tell you, there are hundreds of cases that even I have won, on technical matters where I have not even gone into the specific merits of the case. If I have done this, you can imagine across India how many cases the department is losing because of poor drafting. All they had to do is apply their mind a little bit more. One more case I will tell you, where seven additions were made to the assessment of the assessee. And the entire assessment order was one page, single page, not even back to back, single page assessment, making 7 additions for the assessee. I went on appeal with 100% confidence. I knew every addition was correct, but I went with 100% confidence that at least I will get a set aside matter. I won the case also. Why? They said this is a non-speaking order. There has to be a speaking order. So many cases the department are losing on purely technical grounds. Their merits are absolutely right. The additions are valid, but because the drafting skill is poor, but because they are not familiar with the technical aspects, they are losing cases. Now, this review unit, every order that is going to be passed by the assessing officer or the assessment unit will be reviewed by the review unit. So they will come back and say, Have they asked for reasons for reopening? Yes, they have asked, but I'm very confident of all the additions I have made, the assessing officer will say. Review unit will write to them. However, you're confident, we don't care. Please bring it out. Allow them an opportunity, give them the reasons for reopening, then you dispose of their objections to that. Only after that you can pass this order. So the review unit will give their feedback to every assessment order that is being passed. And let me tell you, this is a department decision where they have said, let us lose cases, no problem, but let us not lose cases on these flimsy technical grounds. So I think the review unit will play a very, very key role in helping them achieve their targets. Now, if you remember, there were two things I said I will touch in the later slide: functional specialization and team-based assessment. So as you can see, the technical unit will have functional specialization. So therefore, each of these units, the assessment unit, verification unit, technical unit, review unit, you will have experts. You will have experts in each of these units. You will have experts in capital gains, accounting, TP, like that. You will have experts in the functional teams. And all of them will be passing the effective order. Now, that is only functional specialization. Now, what is team-based assessment? Ladies and gentlemen, the last 10 to 15 minutes, what we are discussing in this one slide, you can see that there are 4 units and all examples we have discussed. Whatever we discussed now, which is going to be done by each of these units, was all being done by a single person before. It was all being done by a single person. Now you have 4 teams of experts who are all coming together to pass a single assessment order. Please remember, whatever we discussed is for even one assessment order. Like this, every assessment order will be passed. So therefore, it is a team-based assessment. It's a teamwork, team-based assessment, and these are the backbones of this entire faceless scheme. So now, what is the procedure? Now I told you theoretical part is over, where I told you all the theory. This unit will do this, that unit will do that. Now you will be asking, Abhishek, tomorrow if I get a notice from the NEAC or the income tax department, how should I handle it? What is the procedure? I don't know. I know what each unit and all does, but practically take me through a case. Yes, sir, I'm going to take you through. Now, when you look at this chart, I'm sure all of you immediately will say, why so much complication, so many lines, so many boxes? Please don't worry. I have tried to compress the entire scheme, the entire faceless scheme into a single chart in an understandable manner. Once I explain this chart to you, I'm sure you will all be able to appreciate it and say that, okay, now I understand this. So let me start off by starting right in the middle. If you can see my cursor or my arrow, however you want to call it, I am on the NEAC now. The NEAC or the National E-Assessment Center. Remember, I told you this is the brain of the entire operation. You will understand why. See, the NEAC will serve the notice on the assessee. So tomorrow you will get a notice. You will not get it from a assessing officer like before. You will get it from the NEAC. So as an assessee, you will submit your response back to the NEAC. Then the NEAC will assign the case to an assessment unit. So it is going to be a computer generated process. Initially, many people said, is this favoritism? I can put it to whatever unit I want. Like that, I will find out who is the assessing unit, who is the assessing officer. I will find out. Ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be a computerized process. So there is no human interface over here. Randomly, the computer will select which is going to be the assessment unit for your assessee. So your case gets assigned to a particular assessment unit. So assessment unit is going through whatever you have submitted. They have seen it. They say, okay, very nice. But I want more information. This information given by the assessee is inadequate. I want more information. So what will they say? Please give me more information. Who will they send this to? They will not send it to the assessee. Please note, the assessment unit will not ask for more of information to the assessee. Instead, look at arrow number 4A over here. Assessment unit will request for more information to the NEAC. The NEAC will in turn send it back to the assessee. So you can see that the assessment unit and the assessee have no interaction whatsoever. Only the NEAC and assessee interact with each other. So the NEAC will say, okay, give me extra information. I want all of this. So the assessee, he submits whatever information required back to the NEAC. NEAC will forward this to the assessment unit. Then the assessment unit, they're going through this information. Then they suddenly say, No, no, I need a verification to be done. You see, assessee seem to have sold some property, but all the property documents are in the regional language. It is in Kannada. I am based out of Delhi. I don't understand Kannada. What will I do? So he will say, I need these documents to be verified. So therefore, the assessment unit will send a request for verification to be done. Look at arrow 4B. Who will they send it to? They will not send it to some other unit which understands Kannada. They will send it to the NEAC. The NEAC will allocate, saying, okay, the assessee is based in Mangalore. So we will select Bangalore. We will put a verification unit in Bangalore who will translate the documents, who will check the facts of your case, whether it is actually correct. So NEAC will allocate a verification unit. Verification unit will get the facts, they'll go through everything, then they'll give their translation. So this is what it says. This translation, they will forward it to NEAC. NEAC, once again, they'll send it back to the assessment unit. So what happened now? A Singh officer wanted more information, he has got it. He wanted verification to be done, he has got it. Now he has a capital gains doubt. Why? 54F the assessee has claimed. This assessing officer, he has been only in exemptions ward for 15 years. 1 month time barring date. He does not know 54F in this specific matter, whether it can be claimed or not. So what does he do? The assessment unit requests for technical assistance, CPE arrow number 4C. He makes a request for technical assistance to the NEAC. The NEAC will allocate a technical unit. Oh, technical assistance you want? Okay, we'll put the capital gain unit to help you out. So they will refer the case to the capital gain unit. Then the capital gain unit, they will go through everything. Oh, okay, these are the facts of the case. 54F he has claimed. In your jurisdiction, there is a case which is against the assessee. There is a case against the assessee. So do not allow 54F. Please disallow it. Like that, he will give a suggestion. He will send it back to the NEAC. NEAC, once again, they will send it back to the assessment unit. Hapa, now you'll be thinking, sir, I wanted more verification. I wanted more information. I've got it. I wanted verification to be done. It has been verified. I wanted technical assistance. They have got it. Can I finally pass an assessment order? Yes, you can pass, sir, but it will be called a draft assessment order. Why draft assessment order? Please don't forget, there is a fourth unit, the review unit that is involved. So therefore, draft assessment order will be passed. It will be sent to the NEAC. NEAC will forward it to a review unit. Review unit will look at the assessment order. Sir, what is all this? You have made 10 additions. You have done only a one-page order. Please redraft it and send it. Sir, you have said they have asked for reasons for reopening. Have you provided? You have not provided, then please provide it and bring it out in the assessment order. Please pass a speaking order. All of this information review unit will give, and they will send it back to NEAC. NEAC once again will send it back to assessment. Now finally, all 4 units have looked at it. Can I finally pass the assessment order, sir? Sir, even now, after the review unit also, you can only pass a draft assessment order. Now you'll all be thinking, what Abhishek, repeatedly you are saying only draft assessment. I'll tell you why. And this is a very, very good change which has been made. And this is a change that I have personally been fighting for a very long time. And I'm very, very happy to see that they have incorporated it. I'll give you a live example of a case that I have faced and many cases that I've handled, and I've interacted with chartered accountants across the southern region where they've all faced this issue. I'll give you the example of the case. Now, I've been arguing for a case. We had almost 9 hearings, 9 sittings with the assessing officer, where show cause notice issued, 3 show cause notices issued, and it was pertaining to disallowance of exemption under section 10, subsection 38 for long-term capital gains on sale of equity shares. So there was an issue over this. So I appeared 9 times. I've given bank statements, I've given demat statements, I've given share transaction details, I've given Sensex values, everything I've given to the assessing officer. After 9 hearings, I told the assessee, listen, sir, worst case scenario, they will make the addition, they will disallow what exemption you have claimed. Assessee also said, sir, I'm ready, no problem. You make this addition, I have no problem. I'm ready to pay the tax. So everyone is prepared for the worst case scenario. What happened? Assessment order was passed by the assessing officer, and in the assessment order, he had made 2 additions. First addition, he has disallowed exemption under section 10 subsection 30. We are all okay with it because we were ready for it. Second addition, however, he has made an addition saying increase in the capital. Capital of the proprietor is increased abnormally high without any reasoning or explanation. So therefore, second addition. Now this was a shocking thing because the assessee said, "Sir, I have not received a single notice. I have gone for 9 hearings. Never once in these 9 hearings has he ever brought up this capital matter. No show cause notice issued regarding this capital matter, and at no point of time was this capital matter even brought up. Assessee is saying, sir, I got maturity of a fixed deposit. Sir, I got a maturity of a LIC premium scheme that I had matured this year. So all big amounts I have got, sir. That is my increase in capital. I can explain if it required. Everything is in my bank statement, but no opportunity given. But assessment order passed, demand raised. Now you will say, Abhishek, you can go on appeal. You are an expert in appeals. No, why don't you fight it in appeals? Yes, sir, I will fight and I might win in appeals. But till that appeal gets posted, does that assessing officer give you full stay? Does he himself voluntarily give you a stay? Or he will say, pay 20%. If not, we will freeze your bank account. We will attach the funds. We will do all of this to harass the assessee. All of this is happening. I'm sure you're also aware. I'm also aware of this. Assessee is also aware of this. But the addition has been made behind the back of the assessee. If the assessee was given an opportunity, he would have been able to substantiate it. But look at the position the assessee has been put in. In fact, if that assessee, in this case, if the assessee wanted to go on the Vivad Se Vishwas scheme, then he has no option but to accept both additions. He cannot say the first addition I will accept, second addition I will fight. You cannot do that. You cannot cherry pick of the additions. But we all know the second addition is highly unfair, highly invalid, but it has been made. And this, my ladies and gentlemen, is the reality of just one case that I'm telling you. Several chartered accountants across the country, they have faced situations where after multiple hearings, suddenly they are finding an assessment order. Some other addition has been made. In order to fight that, in order to give the assessee an opportunity, a change has been made over here. Even after, am I audible, sir? Can one of the members just clarify if I'm audible or I'm visible? You can even reply in the chat box.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, you're audible and visible as well.
Okay, thank you. Some disturbance came in my screen saying my connection is unstable.
It is like a teacher checking whether student is really alert.
No. Sir, if any disturbance is there, please just let me know because there are heavy rains in Chennai and connection is little unstable. I will.
Your explanation is very with the very clarity.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Today we are giving him one more this Professor Dr. C.A. Murali.
Thank you, sir. So as I was saying, coming back to this matter, now after the job, after all 4 units, after assessment unit, verification, technical review unit, they'll still pass only a draft assessment order so that they can provide a show cause notice to the assessee. The show cause notice, the NEAC will give a show cause notice to the assessee saying, we are going to make these 4 additions. Do you have any objections? Now here I can raise saying only one addition is valid, second addition completely invalid because I was not given an opportunity at all. Now, you may say, sir, even after I reply to that show cause notice, they have still passed an assessment order. Only after you reply to the show cause notice will they pass the final assessment order. Now you may say, they have still made the same addition. So what? At least you have been able to show cause. You have in documentation, you have the documentary proof that you have fought out the fact that this addition was never asked and you brought out to light. So when you go for your stay petition, you will be granted a stay very easily. So that is the purpose of allowing you that final opportunity at that final stage. It is a very good move. So only after all of this, after this entire procedure, will the final assessment order be passed by the NEAC. So now I'm sure this chart will not be that confusing for you. It seems to be little understandable, and I hope the faceless assessment scheme you would have understood in one glance by looking at this after my explanation. So now let us come to the finer points. Now this is the example of a notice under the NEAC that you can see on the screen over here. I'll explain the certain changes over here. The one major change, as you can see in the top of the screen, the red box that I've put over here, it says the National E-Assessment Center. Earlier, it used to give the ward of your officer, either corporate ward, non-corporate ward, salary circle, however it is called in your city. That name used to come over here. Then, of course, the section will be 143.3a, which is the section for e-assessment. And finally, in the bottom right corner, you can't see it in this picture, but in the bottom right corner of your notice, the signing authority normally will be the name of your assessing officer and what his position is. Now it will only say NEAC. There is no person, there's no position, there's no ward also. There is only NEAC for all your assessment orders. Now the big question. There are people who are sitting in Mangalore, there are people who are sitting in Chennai. After years of hard work, they've passed their UPSC exam, they've rejected IAS, they've rejected IPS, they have selected IRS. Those people who are sitting there, what is their role now? What is the role of the jurisdictional officer? Now, the role of the jurisdiction officer, the first important thing, he may not be doing the assessee in Mangalore, but he will be doing the assessment for some other assessee who's situated somewhere else in India. The next thing, for your same assessee, even though he is not the assessing officer who passes the assessment order, he will do the collection and recovery of the demand. So he will get information to him. Last assessment order being passed under faceless scheme, so much demand raised. So he will call you, sir, please ask your assessee to pay 20% at least. You ask him to pay if you're going on appeal. Sir, we will freeze your bank account. All those calls that you were getting before, you will still continue to get those calls. Please don't worry. Same assessing officer is going to call you. The next power that you'll have, rectification under section 154. The power of rectification remains physical. It remains with your jurisdictional assessing officer. And they will still do the rectification. It will not come under the faceless assessment scheme. Giving effect to appellate orders, I think this seems very logical. There was a case recently, it was a e-assessment case in Madras High Court, where it was called Sri Salem Sri Vilas Chit Funds. That is the name of the case, where the Madras High Court held e-assessment, excellent, transparent taxation, wonderful. You want to do faceless, eliminate corruption, super, we'll support everything. But in this case, assessee said the details that has to be submitted is very voluminous. Allow me to come and give it physically. And when he said that, you simply passed a ex parte order saying assessee has not given the information. While we appreciate the entire e-assessment scheme, etc., we feel that giving a person an opportunity to be heard is fundamental. So we are sending the case back to the assessing officer. And in this case, we want it to be done physically. We cannot do under the faceless scheme. So whenever an appellate authority, be it the High Court, ITAT or CIT appeals, if they give a direction, it has to be done physically only, then in those cases, it will be done by the jurisdictional assessing officer. And the last power, proposal for launch of prosecution proceedings. Let me tell you that in at least 80 to 85% of the cases that I've handled, almost all of these cases where we have gone on appeal, I'd say the department has a very good chance of doing prosecution proceedings. But they have been kind enough not to initiate the prosecution proceedings, and they have not pressed on that matter. And that is the scenario. Let me tell you that prosecution proceedings in the last few years have been on the rise. Unlike before, the number of cases that are being taken up are increasing. And given that we are in a faceless assessment era, the number of scrutiny has come down from 0.95% to 0.25%. The government will say, from our side, we have done our part. We want you to be honest now. So therefore, if you are dishonest, we will continue prosecution proceedings against you. So I expect the number of prosecution cases likelihood of going up. There is a good chance, and you might see that happening in the next few years. Most common question that I get asked, can I opt out of the scheme? Sir, scheme very nice, but for my assessee, no need, sir. I don't want to come into the scheme. As I told you, from 13th of August, every case has come under the faceless assessment scheme. You have no option to opt out unless you are in these categories. Only in these specific categories will assessment not be required in the faceless manner. What are they? First one, assessment framed under sections 153A, 153C and survey cases. Such and survey cases will not be covered under the faceless scheme. What is the reasoning? Because the evidence collected in the course of the search, in the course of the survey is quite extensive in nature. So therefore, it is not possible for them to quantify this and transfer these details and evidence and allow them to do an effective job depending on which assessment unit it is. Then they have to forward to various units. Instead, they said, in these cases, let it be done by the central circle wherever the raid has taken place only. One very interesting development here is now the survey powers have been removed from the assessing officers. So only TDS and central circle, only TDS and central circle have the power of conducting survey. Your jurisdictional assessing officer no longer has the power of survey. And there have been instances, in fact, some cases that were referred to us also, we have seen the very first-hand experience of harassment of assessees sometimes by this use of survey powers. And there have been situations where the assessee has filed an appeal. One case that I handled, we had filed the appeal. The appeal was posted on Friday, and Monday and Tuesday, the assessing officer is sending people to collect the demand. We said a stay petition has been filed. We will win the stay. Please wait for 3 days. Please wait for 3 days. The petition will be heard by the ITAT. If we lose the case or we don't get a stay, then anyway we are going to pay the money to you. Assessing officer said, I will not do anything. I don't like you. So I am going to send people to you every day till Friday. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, assessing officers went under the guise of survey to collect money against an assessment order. This is the reality. This is the reality that happened. I'm telling you a practical case that I had faced. So when this had happened, naturally, we had to advise the assessee. We told him on Thursday, we told him, you tell the assessing officer that I will pay the amount. Tell her that I'll pay the amount on Friday morning. I requested the ITAT to take up my matter first. I requested an urgent hearing, and I told the assessee, you please lock the house. See what he did, he locked the house, he went off to Rajasthan. And he said, Abhishek, I'm in Rajasthan. My house is locked. You please update me what happened at ITAT. In the ITAT hearing, we took an urgent hearing. Immediately, the first case, our case was heard. We won the case, and in the court, in the ITAT tribunal, I requested the judge to give a direction to the department to say that they must stay any sort of proceedings for recovery. Any coercive proceedings need to be stopped because absolute stay has been given against a very high-pitched order, 6 months. So immediately they had to call the assessing officer. The assessing officer was very cut up against the assessee, saying that how can you go and ask for stay? It's a right of the assessee to go for a stay. It is not the right of the officer to harass them using the survey powers. So therefore, this is only one case. Many such cases are there across the country. So this is a good change where the survey power of the assessing officer has now been removed and transferred to the central circle, who will use it a little bit more judiciously, but the TDS survey powers remain. So where you are someone who is remitting TDS regularly, those powers still remain with the TDS authorities. They can conduct surveys still. What cases are not covered? 144 earlier was not covered under faceless assessment. Now it is covered. 147 cases reopening also covered under the faceless assessment. We already covered the second scenario where it has been set aside by appellate authorities. Third one, where internet connectivity is poor and notified by the DGIT. What is this scenario? Now, for example, Kashmir this year for almost 6 months, they did not have any internet connection. So if your assessee is based in Kashmir and I am sending a notice to them, faceless assessment, first hearing, faceless assessment, second hearing, third hearing, fourth hearing, they have not responded, I will do 144 order passed. So therefore, in this scenario, that fellow, he cannot even Kashmiris, they cannot even message their neighbor saying, what's up, hello, hi, how are you? They cannot even message their parents. From where they are going to see if income tax have sent an email under faceless scheme. So therefore, it is not practical. So in these scenarios, the principal DGIT or the principal chief commissioner of income tax, they are both empowered to notify an area has no connection or has very poor internet connection. And in these scenarios, it has to be done physically only. So therefore, this power exists. with the DGIT or the principal CCIT. And the last one, under exceptional circumstances, owing to administrative difficulty, the Principal Commissioner of Income Tax may record the reasons for manual assessment and he can transfer it from faceless to manual. Now you might say over here, Abhishek, Principal Commissioner, my very close friend. He's my very close friend. For all my cases, can I get it transferred? Sir, let me tell you, even if he's your brother, even if he's your mother or your father, these cases also it is going to be very, very difficult for you to do it. I'll tell you why. Every single case that is going to be transferred from a faceless scheme to a physical scheme that has been approved by the principal commissioner under this criteria, every single case is going to be elevated up to the CBDT and it will be scrutinized by the CBDT when why it was transferred, what is the reason, who has transferred it. So if that person has been transferring without a valid reason, then let me tell you 100%, this case or that principal commissioner will get into problem and that case will be transferred once again to faceless or some other action will be taken against the assessee. So finally, we have to come to the point as chartered accountants, how should we prepare? Because this is going to be a major change. It's going to affect all of us. So how should you and I prepare for this faceless assessment scheme? The first thing, as I already told you, updating the contact details, email ID to the client's contact details is extremely important. Intimate them that they have to share all the notices with you. The second one, get good scanning equipment for your office. Most chartered accountant office, we have an office boy or office girl who will go to the income tax department. They will submit the documents, get a tapal from the assessing officer for during all the hearing, etc. Now, no concept of tapal and all. Everything is upload the documents online only. So therefore, that office boy or office girl, you train them to scan documents instead. Teach them how to scan things, get a good scanner, or even today phone applications you have where you can scan documents. Please do that. It is completely worthwhile. And that's how all the documents are going to be submitted now. Third one is a very, very important thing. And let me tell you, I'm already seeing changes over here. You have to improve the quality of drafting and presentation of submissions. What do I mean? When it is a physical hearing, I can go across the table, I can explain the facts of the case to the assessing officer. Sometimes in my own mother tongue, either Tamil, Kannada, whatever my mother tongue is, I can explain the cases to them. They will also understand. And whatever submission I'm giving is merely just a formality because all the arguments have been done. I made my explanations clear. But today you don't have a table, you don't have anybody to explain to. And you used to hear, no, because I used to get told all this. Whenever you go for a hearing, what you should do, you should sit up straight, you should wear a tie, you should wear a coat, you should be clean shaven, the hair should be neat, you have to sit up straight and look in the eye of the officer and you have to answer the questions. All of these things you would have been told. Today, no looking in eye and all. Today you have only a laptop screen. Whether you're wearing suit or whether you're wearing a vesti lungi, nobody cares. All you have to do is your quality of drafting matters. Whatever you write in that piece of paper that you are uploading, that is going to be your entire arguments. So whether you are writing too long, whether you are writing too short, everything will make a difference for the sake of your assessee. And let me tell you, my friends, many chartered accountants who have content or who have relationship, who have various other assets, they do not have quality of drafting skills. They struggle in this area. And I'm already seeing this because in many cases, I used to get a lot of appeal cases being referred that I'm still getting, but now I'm getting at assessment level itself, cases for drafting, assistance for drafting, etc., which is coming. And in my view, that is the right direction which we are going to. Earlier, there was a threat. Many auditors, they used to be scared to refer the case to another auditor because they are scared the file will go off. Today, you are in a faceless era, jurisdiction era. There's no concept of jurisdiction. So now you can confidently refer the case to an auditor who's not even in your area. If you're so scared, if I give to a Mangalore auditor, he'll take my case and go. You can refer to a Bangalore or a Chennai auditor and he can take up the matter. So your file is also safe and he also gets represented in a good way. So therefore, you come into a sharing of fees arrangement with the other auditor. But end of the day, you have to provide your client good service. And if the quality of your drafting, the quality of your presentations is not good, then let me tell you, you are doing a real disservice to your client by not fighting out the case. It is a real pity. It is a real pity if you lose the case because you did not draft properly, because you did not know how to draft. And that Asing officer sitting in Bombay and Delhi, he's used to high quality drafting. Once he sees yours, immediately he will dismiss it. So all of these are very sad situations to be in. So quality of drafting or sharing your fees with an auditor to let him do it, you both share fees. But end of the day, you have to improve your submissions that are being made. The next point, prepare and submit prompt responses to all your notices. This point is something I need not tell, but traditionally speaking, as auditors, as lawyers, many people what they used to do, hearing is there. Today hearing is there means today morning adjournment letter will be ready to go and submit to them, say that I cannot come today. There have been times that even I have done it where I've had a meeting at SIRC, my council meeting has gone on a little late. I've not been able to go to the hearing. What I will do? Next day morning, I'll go meet the assing officer. I'll apologize. Sir, I could not come yesterday. My meeting went on till 11 p.m. So that's why I'm coming in the morning. They'll say, no problem, Abhishek, you make your arguments now. This was very commonly being done. But now under the faceless era, I have 15 days to submit my response. If I do not submit on that 15th day, midnight, the window will shut. I will not get any more opportunities to respond to that. Similarly, whatever time they are prescribing in your notice, that is the exact minute will be the last minute in which you can make the submission. If they say 1:23 a.m., you have to make the submission by that date. If you don't make by 1:24 a.m., let me tell you, the window is closed. You will not be able to submit it. So therefore, submitting prompt responses, prompt replies to all notices is of paramount condition now, even more than it was during the physical era, purely because it's a computerized process, no human discretion in allowing other submissions. The last one, take up appeals very, very seriously. It's a new area of practice. Once again, like how I said, improve the quality of drafting. If you are someone who is not comfortable with appeals, refer the case to somebody for appeals, but take up appeals. Because earlier you had a relationship, you had a rapport with the assing officer. So he used to say, I have seen many cases that I have done where the auditor will say, so in this case, I didn't go on appeal before because assing officer said he will help in this case. He said, you pay 100% of the tax, I won't raise the penalty. But that assing officer got transferred. New assing officer came, he raised the penalty. What do I do, sir? So you have to go on appeal. With condemnation, we have to do it. But look at what is happening. In order to preserve the relationship with the assing officer, in order to keep that person happy, many auditors, they did not go on appeal. They used to say, I'll get a peace of mind. I'll not prefer challenging. I don't want to ruffle feathers. We'll maintain a good relationship. Some other case he will help. All of these were reasons why assessees or auditors or even lawyers, they did not go on an appeal. Ladies and gentlemen, today that relationship is gone. Today, nobody is going to help you in any other case. In that case itself, nobody is going to help you. Whether you like it or not, penalty notice will be sent to you. So please remember, you have a very, very good chance in appeal, especially at the Income Tax Appellate Tribunal. Let me tell you that the persons who are sitting as judges, you have two members. One is accountant member, one is a judicial member. The accountant member, very often, they have been either a lawyer or a chartered accountant in practice. So they are very familiar with all the issues that you are facing. And the number of favorable orders that I've got at the ITAT, which at the CIT appeals also you will not get, is very, very high. So taking up appeals very, very seriously will give a huge opportunity to save money for your client. So take it up once again as an area of practice for you, a new area of practice. Or if you are not confident, if you are not comfortable, open court, I have to argue, anybody can come, journalists will be there. I have to argue in an open court. I am not confident. Then you can refer the case to somebody and then you both can come into a sharing of fees. But by not going again on appeal, I'm sorry, but it is not correct for the client. You must fight out the case where you think you have a chance of winning. Don't drop it. Take it up as a new opportunity, and definitely, I'm sure you will win the case for your client. Now, I want to take up questions. So, I am not going to touch some of the slides that I have over here. What I will do is I will share my PPT with whoever wants the PPT. I'll give my contact details in the end. And you can always feel free to get in touch with me. In fact, this is my WhatsApp number. If you want the PPT, feel free to just drop me a message. I'm happy to share it with you. I just want to spend more time on taking up questions. But before we go to the questions, you can start writing out the questions either in the chat box or the Q&A box, whatever is comfortable. But I just want to say, ladies and gentlemen, this faceless assessment is here to stay. My interactions regularly that I've seen is that the government are very serious about it. They don't want to withdraw it. Initially, we thought, okay, we can try to tell them it is not okay, but they are saying, we know it is not okay, but you tell us how to make it better. But we want it to stay. So it is here to stay. Like the transition, when from manual assessment, they moved to the digital assessment, where people used to stand in queues till midnight, 12 o'clock. We used to wait to file the tax audit report. Today, nobody goes to department to file the return. Everyone does it online. It is easy, it is simple. I'm sure even the faceless assessment, over a period of time, it will become simple. But today it is here to say, so us as auditors, as representatives for the clients and assessees, we must enlighten them, create awareness, and tell them this is the reality. And therefore, we must learn and try to fight out the case in this manner. We should be prepared to take it up as an opportunity for us. So with this, I thank you very much for a very patient hearing. I thank the entire branch and the management committee members for giving me an opportunity. Chairman, sir, should we take up questions now?
Yeah. Before that,
Yes,
some
sir.
appeal you are not covered. A little bit brief on appeals. Can you just throw a light on
For
faceless appeals?
faceless appeals? Sure, sir, I'll do that. So when it comes to faceless appeals, still it's a evolving area. They have not completely notified all the provisions how it is going to work. But to give you a brief idea of how faceless appeals will work, is that there are going to be the entire procedure we saw, that entire flow chart that we saw is almost equally applicable for faceless appeals. But the difference is there are going to be three teams under the faceless appeals. One team, they will draft the order. They will prepare a draft order after all your hearings. This draft order will be sent to a second team. The second team, they will go through all the draft orders that has been prepared. Any other submissions, they will ask directly to the assessee saying, I want all of these submissions. And they will prepare one more order. It does not end over there. It goes to a third team. It goes to a third CIT team. That CIT appeals team will take up this order, which has been passed by the first person, changed by the second person. Now it is coming to a third person. This third person will go through everything. They will review whether the order has been drafted clearly, whether all facts have been brought out. They will give you a show cause notice to the assessee saying, if everything okay, can we pass the order? And finally, they will pass the CIT appeals order. So therefore,
Then too many cooks to spoil the food, no?
That's what even I had felt, because at the assessment level, I thought it was very reasonable. Many of the changes which was brought, I thought it was fairly reasonable. But when it comes to the CIT appeals level, normally you require the sort of discretionary power that has been given to the Commissioner of Income Tax Appeals has to be exercised very judicially. And he has to be someone who needs to have full time for application of mind. But when it is jumping from this person go to second person will see something, then it goes to a third person. I am not completely convinced that it's the right model to adopt, but I think they have done demos. I think they have got comfortable with it. That is why they have chosen this. To be honest, under CIT appeals, they have not yet taken any case. All your pending CIT appeal cases have now been transferred to the faceless scheme, unless you are certain exceptional categories. Benami cases, very high person. They have said sensitive cases. They have not specified what sensitive definition means, but they have said high profile and sensitive cases will not be covered under faceless appeals, and such cases will not be covered under faceless appeals. Of course, international taxation and transfer pricing is not covered either by faceless assessment or faceless appeals. So other than all of these cases, all your pending appeals is now under faceless appeals. So therefore, while I think it is an interesting idea, we are yet to see how the idea will work out physically. Because when it comes to faceless assessment, I have seen how it is being done, and I think it is a workable process. When it comes to the faceless appeals, we are yet to see what are the fruits of that. We will have discussions, and I will keep you posted as to how it functions. If anybody has any experience with that, you can feel free to share it with me. I will definitely take it up with the finance ministry of any concerns that are there. So yes, yes, as Naik ji.
Gautam Nayak, our
Yes,
moderator, can you please
We,
moderate
okay.
the 3 questions? I think 3 charts are there. You can.
So we have 3 questions altogether. So I'll
Okay.
go with the first question. What will be the position of Section 144A for the Joint Commissioner to issue directions on matters relating to assessment on an application by the SSC? That is, I think, in the perspective of the technical and the review unit.
So therefore, the powers of the jurisdictional or administrative commissioner remains unchanged. They still have the same powers that they had in before. So in my view, as far as 144A is concerned, they will still have the power. But practically, whether it is practically usable 144A in this faceless assessment era, it remains to be seen. There are some gray areas like this where some sections have been modified, some sections remain the same. So in this scenario, for example, you take a set aside power of the CIT appeals. The CIT appeals set aside power was removed way back in 1995. They removed the power of set aside by the CIT appeals. But today, when the assessment is going to be entirely faceless, if I go on an appeal, then the CIT appeals now should have the power of set aside, because if it is not done correctly, the CIT appeals is also going to be faceless. If every stage it is going to be faceless, where will I ultimately get the remedy? So there does remain certain sections which are gray. You don't have clarity about that. 144A is one such provision, but as it stands, it remains as it is. There's no change to that.
Okay. Fine, sir. For the next question, it is from CA Chandrakant Rao. Tips on one, uploading huge data collected for. There are restrictions as 10 attachments with limited MB size. That is question number one. There's a second question. Quality of questionnaire is seen as not good in some cases. How to ask clarifications from the assessment team? These are the 2 questions.
I think sir has very practically experienced this issue, Chandrakant Rao sir. In fact, if you see my PPT, I would have covered this as one of the points that I had raised. So let me take each question one by one. First one, uploading huge data called for. You are absolutely right. Is in fact, it's a very curious thing, such that today when I'm uploading certain documents, if I put space, I put a space bar in my file name, it is rejecting. I'm not able to upload. If I put a star in my file name, it is rejecting. If I put 1, 2, 3 in my file name, it is rejecting. So therefore, there are some very weird conditions like that. Similarly, asking for a lot of information and then providing only 10 attachments, maximum 5 MB per attachment. All of these are huge limitations, and we have taken it up. We have said it's impractical. In fact, the suggestion that I had given them is 2 things. I said set up a Sahayata section like that. You set it up in every city, every branch, wherever income tax is there. Ensure there are people who will help you upload the documents. One. Second, have an option like a Google Drive where the size of the documents are very high. I cannot sit and upload it after 10 MB, it will get rejected. I'll be spending half an hour to upload the documents. Then when I put submit, it will say it is too high, it is getting rejected. So therefore, allow me an option like a Google Drive where I can upload it in certain cases, and you can make an exception saying in this case, I will allow you to do it through Google Drive. So these are the suggestions we have given that it is in consideration, and we hope it will be passed. But as it stands, you're right. The size thing is definitely a limitation. Second, quality of questionnaire is not seen as good in some cases. How to ask clarifications from assessment team? Absolutely right, sir. One case that was very recently referred to me. It was a case, I think, based in Karnataka only, if I'm not wrong. The assessee is based out of Karnataka. And what happened in this case is the questionnaire, which has come to the assessee under limited scrutiny under NEAC, they're asking for what business does the assessee do, what is the address of the assessee, what and all branches does he have, details of the sales ledger of the assessee, all the invoices of your sales. He's saying, sir, I have crores of transactions, sir. He wants invoices for me. That is what the NEC is asking for. They're saying, please provide the invoices for the sale. Not only that, invoices for purchase, pay slips for the payment of salaries to your assessee. All of these details are being sought for under the NEC scheme. Now, you and I know if I upload that sales itself, it will not be able to fit in the 10 attachments. Even if you give me 1,000 attachments, I will not be able to fit it. But reality remains where there are certain situations where these questions are being asked. I advised the auditor, I said, immediately reply, bring it on record. Please bring it on record that these details sought for appear to be outside the scope of limited scrutiny or seems to be excessive. It is the whole purpose of having this entire NEAC is to reduce the amount of paperwork, to reduce the amount of litigation. The moment you ask for 26, in that case, 26 checklists were there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 26. One item is provide all the sales invoices. One item is provide all the purchase. One item is provide all the pay slips. Like this, 26 items are there. Highly, highly unfortunate. So therefore, we told the auditor immediately reply saying that these details sought for cannot be uploaded. Please clarify if the same can be done physically. So therefore, bring it out on record, because if you don't submit, then it will be ex parte for you. So please bring it out on record. But from our side, from the administrative side, this is something that I've definitely taken up. I've requested that these sort of questionnaires should not be passed where it is impractical for the assessee to share the information. But my suggestion to you, sir, please respond online itself that it is not possible to upload all them.
Okay. The question number 3 is very relevant. Please elaborate on adjournments if the window goes off.
Well, once again, very practical thing. See, you can ask for an adjournment as long as the window is open. You just say request to type in there saying that I want an adjournment. In this case, they will give you an adjournment. But suppose let us take a scenario where I don't ask for an adjournment and I fail to submit my documents by the 15 days time that they've given. The window is closed. So what happens here? In this scenario, I can tell you that department is not straight away going to pass the order. They are also slightly reasonable. So they'll give you 1 opportunity, 2 opportunities, 3 opportunities. But after 3 opportunities, after having 45 days time, if you are still not providing response, then they are saying they gave passed ex parte order. Then in my view, that is correct only what department is doing. So they will not straight away do it. They will also be reasonable. They will give you 1 or 2 opportunities.
Okay. Last question, sir. In the assessment notice, the assessment unit is asking for translated document. Whose responsibility is this?
So here there are 2 things, sir. One is you can translate and give it. There's no problem in you translating and giving the document. But the department will also have a team where they will translate it. How currently it is being done under the physical mode is that the department have a team where they will translate the document and give it to you. So for example, one CIT appeals case that I handled, the gentleman who was the CIT appeals commissioner was from Punjab and he does not understand our regional language. So what happened? All the documents were in the regional language. He sent it back to the assessing officer to translate it, who knew the regional language, and it was translated and sent back. The same logic will apply over here also, where they will translate the document and send it back. However, the difference here is any document that has been translated should be put forward to the assessee to verify whether the translation is correct or not. For example, I am saying I have sold a land for 50,000 rupees. The translation comes back saying you have sold for 50 lakhs. They cannot simply pass the order. I must have an opportunity to say that it has been translated correctly. So it will be put to the assessee to object if the translations are incorrect.
Okay. So last question. Section 144K is pending with the CIT appeals, which requires examination of books of account. How the CIT appeals will obtain the remand report?
So yes, you are absolutely right, Raghupati sir. As I said to the first question, lot of gray areas. Remand report is one such gray area where who is the person who will examine the remand report? Will you send it to the assessment unit who did the assessment, or will you send it to the assessing officer who is just a person who the case has been given to after the assessment? That is why I said the set-aside power needs to be brought back. Remand report was brought because set-aside power was removed. So in that case, remand report, in my view, as it stands, it has to go to the physical jurisdictional officer. So he will have access to the books of accounts. He will only examine the remand report in this given case.
Okay, I think that's all. So I request our chairman CA SS Naik sir to take over.
So it was a wonderful session by our young star. I don't want to tell you youngster, young star. We appreciate Murali. Really, we have heard a lot about you, but today we heard many more things what we heard. So definitely, we are all enlightened by faceless assessment, even though there are a lot of gray areas. Of course, only gray areas will protect these practitioners. This is also gray task. Then there is no difference between others and us. Even SSC can himself do all these things. Because of gray area, all we chartered accountants are here to practice in a full swing. So, of course, this faceless assessment is also a challenging opportunity in our professional career because of lot of changes have come. This faceless is also a change. But as we move forward, of course, assessment we have understood in full swing, and that our audit is also getting audited by the department in 4 layers, as you told, technical unit, verification unit, all these department, they will audit our audits in simple words. So that's why we should be also very careful while auditing and signature, while signing the financial statements also, because there will be repercussions there afterwards. We, to avoid all these repercussions, better to be safe than sorry. We should not have any careless attitude. So, because in faceless assessment, there is no opportunity to correct ourselves. Then, as long as our appeal is concerned, clarity is yet to come. Until then, we are ignorant about this e-appeals. So once this e-appeals, there is a clarity. We can do separate virtual meeting or physical meeting on e-appeals also. So I wish that Abhishek Murali, he is the tallest leader, even though in a short span, is young, and he is the tallest leader in SIRC now. And I wish that he will be the president of our ICAI soon, and definitely he will enlighten entire our CA fraternity. From the second largest accounting body, our ICAI will be the largest accounting body in the world. I wish that under the able leadership, and what you can say, a leader is one who creates many leaders under his leadership. I wish that he will also create many leaders under his leadership also. And I wish bright career ahead, bright future and prospects ahead for CA Abhishek Murali. We are all very proud to have you. And your age is 31, but I have put in 32 years of my practice. But still, I learned a lot from you today, because there is a saying, so to learn, you need not have to get it from your elders only. You can learn from your young people also. You can learn from your articles also. There is a saying in Sanskrit, Acharyat Padamadate, Padam Shishyaha Swamedhaya, Sabrahmacharibhyaha Padam Kalakramena cha. That means a student learns a quarter from teacher, a quarter from own intelligence, a quarter from fellow students, and rest in the course of time. So all these webinars, all these virtual meetings, and all our seminars. Now seminars are also, they are permitted to start. So definitely it will refresh all our professional. It will help for our updating our professional skills. And thanks to our ICA, even this faceless assessment during COVID time also, it has helped us a lot. So definitely in the years to come, we will find many more changes in the assessment and appeal proceedings. We should be prepared for that. And last, we are very proud that 52nd this SIRC conference is going to be held on 10th to 13th December 2020. Some of our members have already registered for the conference. I request all our members to register for the program, as we are going to have a lot of brainstorming sessions from the various experts, and it has been divided into 3 days, so that we will not have that excessive loading of the information in one day. So I wish SIRC conference under the leadership of our Dungarchan Jain and Abel Sarathi our CA Dr. Abhishek Murali. It will be definitely a grand success. We are all here there to join hands with you, sir. And I, on behalf of Mangalore branch of SIRC of ICAI, I am very pride. It is my pride privilege to thank you very much for spending your valuable time and disseminating knowledge on faceless assessment. Thank you very much. And we wish that your support will continue in future also. And ours, we are celebrating Golden Jubilee year. Now it was a founding day only. We have started on 18th August. 1 year we are going to celebrate. And we want lot of support from SIRC also in many entities. If any support is required, I will contact you without hesitation.
Yes.
I request you to be very lenient while considering our any requests for our Mangalore branch, sir. Thank you very much for being.
Definitely, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Now that we have come to the end of the program, I would like to propose the vote of thanks. First of all, I would like to thank CA Kumar S. Jigajini for being the chief guest for this wonderful webinar. So thank you, sir. My next thanks goes to CA Dr. Abhishek Murali for giving us a complete insight into the faceless assessment, which is going to be very relevant for all of us practicing chartered accountants. Thank you, sir, for making yourself available for deliberating on this subject. My thanks are also due to CA Soumya for the beautiful prayer. I would also like to thank CA Yashaswini for being the MC for today's program. I would also like to thank A1 Logics for the technical support. And last but not the least, all the participants for making this webinar a grand success. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you.